Happy Friday to you. Yes, you know what time it is? It's time to fail fast. That's what time it is. Right here with your strategic innovation cell, Morpheus. Yeah, you don't want to miss it. I'm not sure everybody likes that whole downtone, like, the Morpheus. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's totally fine too. Either way, we really have an amazing clip, history, kicking back, history show for you right here. Failing fast. One of my favorite statements from one of my favorite speakers. Now, I know I say that a lot. That I have a lot of favorite speakers, but truly one of my favorite clippets that we're going to circle back to today, because recently at AFA, there were several of these discussions about why it is so important to take gravity of where you're at, what you're doing, and what is going on in your environment. So welcome right now to Fail Fast Friday. I'm Trigger Jordan, not only your host of Disruptive AF, but also the host of Winning Wednesday, Fail Fast Friday, which is looking at the wins and the fails from across the innovation ecosystem. That's right. It's a lot of fun. And this specific week that we're talking to is a video that we had. Now, we previously put this, it was like 6 months ago, or maybe 4 months ago. But recently at AFA, this topic had come up of how is it that you gracefully, and why is it that it is so important for us to be able to look back on those moments that we've had that we would call failures or opportunities to succeed that did not pan out, or however you want to look at it. But specifically, this is Billy Flynn, F-35 test pilot, has been involved. He's been a fighter pilot for many, many, many years. And I got introduced to him through, I actually don't remember how I got it. Oh, it was through a Flight Sim Expo. Got introduced to him and his purview of how, not only in the flight regime, but these lessons learned that he communicates that I think are so powerfully important. They don't grow old, especially when literally they came up 2 weeks ago at AFA. I've heard several discussions, not only from friends at Tesseract and Bestman and people that were physically there at AFA, which was an amazing time, by the way. I'd just tell you, if you didn't have a chance to swing by the Morpheus booth, you really missed out. But good news, you're going to get another opportunity to do that here coming up very, very soon, because we're going to be at the spring AFA and then again at next year's AFA as well. The team right now down wrapping up Fed Supernova down in Texas, which has been amazing. Next week, not only do you have the DEF conference coming up, but then also going to be down at Air University following that. So follow along with the Morpheus team. You can do that simply by going to morpheusaf.com. Great opportunity to go there. You could go there right now. Also, you could, if you so chose. You can also, if you want to reach out to us, can send us an email so simply right here at team@morpheusaf.com. Your opportunity to be able to reach out to us, ask any questions that you have, because we're happy to be able to help you. But we're going to do a very intentional job of making sure we give that information there on the website. So feel free to go to morpheusaf.com as well. You can do that right now. But without further ado, let's get over to Billy Flynn, because I love this statement he makes. Again, I brought it up. It was being talked about at AFA. But why is it that we have this misconception oftentimes that it's not okay to look back and value the failures that we've had? Now, I know that sounds crazy. I know we like to say, wow, Trigger, what are you talking about? Like we brief and debrief and we talk about the goods and bads all the time. We do hot washes and all this sorts of stuff. No. I'm taking a step deeper than that. I'm not just talking about the things that we've done well or haven't done well. I'm talking about valuing the things that we have done well and have not done well. See, there's a difference. I really firmly believe there's a clear, distinct difference between these things. Is because it's one thing to say, okay, yeah, we realize we screwed up. It's a whole nother thing to appreciate that experience. It's a whole nother thing to actively search out the moments where maybe we've had a failure. Maybe things didn't go as we planned them to. Maybe we could have done a better job in prepping for something, or we could have done a better job in collecting the data to be able to then go and make adjustments moving forward in the future. But why is it so important to value that experience of looking at the failures and looking at what some people would perceive as the negative? I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. It's not the negative. It's the opportunity. What? Say that again? Yeah, I said it's not the negative, it's the opportunity. I'll say that one more time. It's not the negative, it's the opportunity to be able to learn from it. That is so incredibly valuable. And I don't want us to miss that right now as we go over to this clip. And again, we're having a little throwback here, but going back to this clip, Billy Flynn, F-35 test pilot, and I love the words that he says and the words that he uses specifically in this interview that we did with him not too long ago. But these words came up, like I said, and I think they're really important. I think you'll enjoy it. Let's talk about it when you get back from it. Here it is. Billy Flynn, friends.
But some of the misconceptions people have and they get themselves into that really become a hindrance to the future of how they move forward and what that move forward. What have you seen that people
It's the theme of learning from your failures. Look, everybody stumbles, and so when you stumble, when you stub your toe, the real key is how you get back up. And I know there's a whole bunch of cliches, but the reality is it applies to every single one of us. So let's step back just a sec and say that there isn't a single human on this planet who never fails. And if you've ever heard a story of someone that just sounds too amazing to believe because they've been rock stars their whole lives, that's not the authentic tale. And in the end of this story that I'm telling, I'll tell you why it's important to me. So, what really matters is how you get back up again. We're all going to fail, but it's a mental game. It inevitably, every single time, the the decider of whether we succeed or that particular stumble leads to ultimately the failure of us to live our dreams. It's all in our head. It's all in the period of when we stumble, when we fail a check ride in the Air Force, in Air Force training. Do we go back to our rooms, regroup, reset our mindset, steel our heads, our character, and focus on succeeding, and drive into our head the power of positive thinking, knowing that it's just a stumble and we can do better and we will pass. If we are able to do that, then we're going to go on to succeed. But you and I, and everyone we know who's a pilot, went to pilot training with a host of men and women who were unable to do that, who had
yeah.
a bad, epically bad day. We've all had those too, but
Oh yeah.
had a bad day, and they just couldn't get their minds out of the game, back in the game. They could not take away the haunting of having failed one time. And all of a sudden they get behind the eight ball and they just never let their minds help them recover. And they're fighting themselves. They're fighting their demons. They're fighting their ghosts. They're fighting their backgrounds. They're fighting themselves, and really not their future. They're not condemned, but they condemn them. They're not condemned by the system. They're condemned by their mindset. And it's hard. I've been there. You and I have shared stories. Look, I nearly failed out of the first part of pilot training,
Yeah.
and the only reason they let me go is because I was so super keen. They let me carry on, and I can tell you that failure is what drove me to be number one the rest of my career. And I almost never failed again, but yet I did. Um, but the difference could have been I would have been so haunted that I just gave up and go, look, I just can't do this. And then the next flying time you fly, or a week down the road, you make another mistake because
Yeah.
now the haunting piles on you, and so on. So the real difference, to answer your question, is how you go back, steel your mind, regroup your headspace, put on the cap that says I'm here to succeed, and get back up and go face the failure and go succeed beyond that. I started talking about, I said no one ever fails in real life.
Yeah.
I know lots of people who have lived a pretty comfortable existence in their professional life. Life has been great. They're really super great at tests, and they're really great in peacetime. There's no part of their character that ever shows a flaw. And then I take them into combat where people are shooting at them, where it is the ultimate of pressure on a fighter pilot because you're going to die if you cannot execute. Oh, by the way, you might get your wingman killed also.
Yeah.
And I watch these rock stars in peacetime crumble under the pressure, the enormous weight of war, of combat, of the real deal, because they never in their existence, they'd never failed before. They never stumbled before, and all of a sudden it's game day and they can't perform.
Yeah.
I want when I recruit someone, when I bring someone on board, I want someone who has real stories. I want someone who's failed, who knows how to get back up again, who knows who's failed more than once and knows how to get back up time and time again, and is not rocked by a stumble here or there. That's who I want, because those are the people that ultimately succeed in life.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow is right. Holy smokes. If we didn't have a crowd, if we didn't have an audience to be able to applaud that, I don't know what we would do. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, you three. Thank you. Yep. Here all Friday. Yes, indeed. Wow is right. I mean, seriously. That ability to be able to pick yourself up and to be able to look at what you've done and not be hindered in the future, not be hindered moving forward by realizing, man, we really made a mistake with this. This is the importance of what the entire innovation ecosystem is not only is it so critical that we have a culture that allows us to be able to not only focus on the goods and incentivize good, but what we're actually incentivizing in the innovation ecosystem, what we should be actually incentivizing is simply this, is the process of having an idea, bringing it to a minimum viable product or trying it out, testing and trying it out, seeing if it would actually work, iterating on that to see if we can make adjustments to make it work, and then determining whether or not, hey, could this be a success or should we cut bait here and say, you know what, that's not going to work. That's probably not going to work for this reason, this reason, this reason. It's about the process of that discovery. This is when last week, or last couple of weeks with AFA, when we were talking to Liz and Daniel Holter, he was talking about it's about the process. This is why they do design facilitation sessions, is to create this space where you can assess and try the process. You can value the process, not just value success. This is what I challenge you with to think about before we go to commercial break is this. Yes, commercial break. I said commercial break and I meant it. I challenge you with this is if all we do is incentivize succeeding and not incentivize the ability to learn from our failures or to objectively learn from something that we tried that didn't work out. If all we do is incentivize the people who only succeed, then what we're actually doing is kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. Because then we're creating a culture that doesn't actually accept trying something. All it actually accepts is success. And you know, and I know, and everybody who's been involved in the innovation ecosystem for a while realize is that innovation can be incredibly messy. It can be totally just kind of sloppy. There will be times where you think you are charging forward on a pathway that's absolutely going to succeed, only to find out and realize that the thing you thought for certain was going to work not only did not work, but it actually set you back maybe 2 months. That's the reality of being at the edge. That's the reality of being a pioneer of solutions. That's the reality of finding yourself in a place where maybe nobody else is trying these things you're trying. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to record an awesome podcast, and not only a podcast, but we had a little clip it with Michael Meyer, who has been working a lot on VR and VR integration, and he's been working with some amazing people. And I know there are some amazing people out there in working groups focusing on VR as well. But he kind of made this point: is if you're bold enough to be able to take the step out and bring a solution, bring an opportunity to assess a solution, what it actually does is bring other people into the conversation, which grows this mentality of, hey, maybe we can try this, maybe we can attempt this, maybe it's okay to give these things a shot. And if they don't work out, at least we're trying. If you don't try, you'll never know. I always say, no is always free. The worst thing I can say is ask, and maybe they say yes. And if they say yes, great. It's wonderful. If they say no, okay. I'm not really any different off than I was before if I hadn't have asked. Looking at what Billy said of being able to pull yourself up and truly focus on the things that actually matter. The failure is not necessarily the thing that mattered. Your ability to get back up, to refocus, to recage, to reprioritize what you actually are going to incentivize their following. That is the critically important piece. So I would ask you as leaders across industry, not only industry in the Air Force innovation ecosystem, not only in the operations of the Air Force and the amazing mission sets we have, but I would ask you to truly think about what is it that you're incentivizing on a daily basis within your organization? Are you incentivizing strict compliance, or are you incentivizing real conceptual assessment and analysis of what could potentially be best? Are you creating an environment that actually prevents people from offering solutions because they are afraid of what would happen if it didn't work? Or are you incentivizing people to think creatively about solving their own problems that they encounter every single day? One of those, I would challenge you, or I would suggest one of those creates a growth mindset and a growth culture, a place that people want to be involved with. The other one creates fear and separation from opportunities and solutions that you're looking for. So when we come back here after this amazing commercial break, I ask you to think about this simple idea. What is it that you're incentivizing? What is it that you're putting focus and impetus on? And what is it that you actually are valuing, not by what you say, but instead by the culture that you're creating around you? So when we come back from this awesome commercial break brought to you by the Disruptive AF podcast and some pretty cool people over there, I might just say, we're going to dive into that real quick before we cut out of here for Fail Fast Friday. So stick with us here in just a moment. Hey, where are you going? Don't go anywhere. I'll tell you why, is because we got several awesome things you don't want to miss out about. First, you need to go over to morpheusaf.com literally right now. It's super simple. All you got to do is head over there and you're going to see Morpheus, the brand new website. That's right. Start at the top, morpheusaf.com, our homepage, saying simply what we do. You can get the innovation trifold that you're looking for, the information right there. Nope, it's ping, ping, right there. Also, subscribe, get the updates of not only events, but also any information we have to be able to pass to you. And of course, get all of your great content you love from the Air Force Innovation Space right there. You can also go to the About Us page and projects which will continue to be built out. Just some of the things you can look at right there. The innovation pathways, 9i and 88i information, and of course, the refinery. So don't miss out on those great capabilities that are right there just waiting for you. Also, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you head right over to be able to get signed up, not only at YouTube with Morpheus, but also make sure you subscribe, because honestly, you don't want to miss the great content that's coming each and every time. You really, really don't. So without further ado, let's get back to it right now. Winning Wednesday, Fail Fast Friday, whatever it is that you want, you got it right here with Morpheus. See ya. I got no shame in it. Disruptive AF, if you haven't watched it, you absolutely should. You can catch it anywhere where podcasts are available for the audio version, or you can head right on over to YouTube and subscribe right there. So as we're bringing you back into the fold for Fail Fast Friday, the thing that I left you with that I really want to impart to you as we do, prepare ourselves for the weekend, if you will, is this. I ask you this question: what is it that you're incentivizing? What is it that you are actually putting into action in the relationships, in the squadron, in the interactions that you have with people around? What is it that you as a leader, as an individual? It doesn't matter whether you're the squadron commander. It doesn't matter whether you're a one striper, A1C. It doesn't matter what your position is. The question is, what is it that you're putting into motion there in your squadron, in your environment? Are you putting and creating an environment that says, you know what, I would rather have 4 people try something and find out what solution is actually going to be useful to us in moving forward? Or are you creating an environment around you that is saying, listen, don't even waste your time, because if you so much as think wrong trying that thing, you're going to get in trouble. I'll tell you what the intent is. I can tell you from the Morpheus perspective, we want people who are thinking, and not only thinking, but are thinking in that creative, facilitative fashion that Daniel Holter was talking about and Liz was talking about a couple weeks ago when we were live at AFA, is talking about the mindset of that is truly looking past the symptom to actually find out what the problem is. So when you truly know what the problem is, then you can start finding a solution that is going to actually bring completion and solution. You know what I mean? Don't just look at what the symptom is. Don't just be afraid to fail through the process of trying to identify that solution. Look past it, work past it, and ask yourself, what is it that we're really trying to accomplish? Are we just trying to put a Band-Aid on this problem, challenge that we have? Or are we actually trying to bring a solution? This is why we value failure, is because every single time we learn from what it is, a mistake that we've made, a setback that we've had, every time we take the intentional time to step back, look at ourselves, identify what we learned or what we needed to learn. That grows us stronger for the next time that we run into a challenge. It gives us one more tool in the tool bag, as I've heard many mentors say before. It gives us one more opportunity to look at what it is that we're doing and how we're doing it and grow so that we are better prepared for that next step. And it all comes down to this. Here's your final challenge for Fail Fast Friday, is this. What is it that you're going to incentivize, not only there, as I ask you coming out of break, but now take that next step with a question. What is it that you can do to actively create the environment where people want to be involved and pulled into it, regardless success, win, or failure, or loss? What is it that you can do where people want to be part of the team, where they feel like they not only have a voice in this innovation ecosystem, but they can get involved and they can bring solutions as well? Today, we had this amazing chance to be able to spend time with people working through SIF. How do we utilize SIF? How do we grow in SIF? How do we really bring SIF, the Squadron Innovation Fund's value across the Air Force? Had the opportunity to sit with 22 different people who had great ideas and great influence and great impact into how to be able to best do that. And the coolest part is everybody in that circle felt as though, everybody on that call felt as though they had the ability to bring their perspective up and that it would be valued. That's because we work and live in a culture of airmen and guardians that truly care about bringing real answers, real solutions, real opportunities, and also value the moments that we fail as well. That is awesome. So, as always, thanks for joining us on Fail Fast Friday. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you subscribe, and you can not only subscribe, but also, that's the wrong one. Here you go. Make sure you subscribe right there on either Facebook or follow on LinkedIn, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, anywhere that we are live. Don't forget to be able to subscribe. And also don't forget that you can go over to YouTube right there, look for Morpheus or the Disruptive AF podcast, and we will see you right there because that's where all your great content is. So my friends, from all of you innovators out there and you fellow failures like myself, because I have had many failures, have a great weekend. Look at yourself and say, how is it that I'm bringing real value to the ecosystem around me? And what is it that I'm doing that incentivizes people? Does it incentivize them to be part of your culture, or does it incentivize them to stay in the background because they don't want to get in trouble? Just saying. Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for Winning Wednesday and for the Disruptive AF podcast. My friends, take care. Have a great weekend. And from Morpheus, thanks for joining the Edge of Innovation. We'll see you.